Mic. Camera. Action.
Everybody stay calm, we'll be done soon, and then we'll be on our way. Bring me that knife. What's this symbol? I like symbol. This is the symbol of the goat. The pet of Satan. They say. You have a case that belongs to me.
Does it?
Yes, like your lives.
It was lost. He doesn't have it.
Last time the case, you will force me to cut his heart out.
Do it, you piece of shit.
Wait!
Let me have it.
Hey!
Talking to me?
Pick it up. Hand it to me.
You get it yourself.
What was that?
You heard. Now pick it up. Hand it to me nicely. Or you'll get what he got.
Do it, Lee.
You'll be all right, Billy.
Respect is everything. Without respect, we're just people. Common shitty people.
I'm sorry, sir. It's not your fault. Now what?
Welcome back to the Filmography, the show dedicated to watching every credited film for an actor's complete back catalogue, from past debut through to present day, in chronological order. Each episode, I'm joined by an esteemed guest to watch and discuss the next entry from the Focus Filmography, and discuss how it ranks amidst their career, and whether we can trace any typecasting trends or topic traits or theatrical tics. For episode 29, I'm joined by the extraordinary Max Byrne to discuss the 29th big screen appearance of the Stath in the Sly sequel, The Expendables 2. We watch, you listen, and hopefully watch along too. So Max, thank you so much for returning to the show to extend our discussion on Sly's third most famous franchise.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Jack. Thanks for having me back, I should say. I'm
Mm.
delighted to be here to discuss the second installment of this wonderful, well, I was about to say wonderful trilogy, but of course it's not anymore, is it? It's a quadrilogy. Although whether the fourth installment is so great, I guess we'll discuss at a future date.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Thanks so much for having me back on.
Oh, it's great. And, you know, I always love spending time talking to you anyway. We started on your own show talking about comics, and then we transitioned into my show talking about movies. But we always have a good time. I always like what you have to say. And I really like this idea of getting the guests back for each kind of next franchise installment, because we get to go on a journey together. So it's going to be really interesting. We've done the Expendables, and then we've got, as you said, now, including this, 3 more to go. So
Yeah.
I like hearing you that singular voice like all the way through.
Yeah. No, it's a cool idea, and he's got a lot of franchises as well, hasn't he? When you think about it,
He
he's done
has, yeah.
a lot of sequels to his own films, whether it's this or The Mechanic or The Meg or The Fast and the Furious, and there's probably loads more I've forgotten about. Transporter, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities for that kind of thing. It's great.
There are, and I think this one's maybe not most interesting, but I think because who he's with in this one, it's not a Stath franchise. And I guess Fast and Furious isn't either, really, is it? But it's
No,
one where he's a key figure, but it's not like his per se. So it's interesting to think of him in more of a God, I can't think of words though. Maybe supporting role is not quite right, but he's not the star, is he?
no, his name isn't first on the call sheet, is it, by any stretch of the imagination? But I think it's fair to say he's second in command, both literally and figuratively, in the fictional world and the sort of the real billing of this franchise. He is like the second highest billed person, not necessarily the second biggest name, because there are some huge names that appear over the course of these 4 films in sort of varying sizes of cameo. But yeah, I think it's fair to say, other than obviously Sly, who's sort of the creator and writer and director even of the first one of this franchise, he is literally just behind him, I think, in the pecking order, I would say.
To the point, as you said, we've got Expendables 4 or Expend 4 balls, however you're supposed to say it. I'm not sure. Expend 4 balls is about right. But
Yeah.
he's kind of taken over at that point, hasn't he? And I guess the idea was for him to maybe move on and maybe get his own trilogy of expendable movies, but whether that sees the light of day now.
I think it's fair to say that after the 4, I mean, again, it's a discussion for another time, but I think it's fair to say that the 4th one is probably the last we're going to get. Unless it's some direct-to-video, ultra, low budget hack job. They should just and let's be fair, they probably should have let it lie anyway, after leaving such a big gap after the 3rd one, and sort of letting interest in the franchise wane. They should have done it 2 or 3 years after the 3rd one, really, rather than leave it so long. But that said, even discarding that, I think well, as we'll discuss tonight, I think this second installment, my personal opinion, is by far the best of the series. That's what I think, anyway.
No, that's really interesting. I think there's so much about this film that feels like an improvement, feels like an advancement, perhaps, on the original. But there's a couple of things for me personally where I feel actually it's lost a little bit of edge. But as you say, as we talk through it, we'll see whether you convince me otherwise. Because I know that I think I knew before we started that you felt that way about this one. There's a big reason, and we'll definitely get into it, why this one has one elevated factor above all the others. And he generally goes by his initials. And I think probably most people are in agreement that the performance of JCVD is the thing that really elevates this one.
It's a performance for the ages. It really is. How he wasn't on the when the big prizes were being handed out at the Oscars and the BAFTAs and any other, the Golden Globes and every other basically award ceremony. Why his performance of Jean Villain wasn't there? It beggars belief, really. But I guess that's Hollywood snobbery for you.
Absolutely, and he's another one of those actors that's been reluctant, perhaps is the right way to put it, to take on villain roles because he saw himself as the kind of the inheritor of the 80s action star crown, didn't he, of being a hero. But he would have had a lot to offer in a lot of different roles as a villainous character, I think, based on this.
Oh, absolutely. I think he plays a great villain because is he the greatest actor in the world? No, but I think he's a lot better than he gets credit for. And I think he's able to play malevolent and sinister, albeit in a very broad, big, acting in inverted commas way in this film. It is something special. But yeah, I think he would, he could have been, but he still could, I guess. But he, especially in his prime years, he could have, when the sort of the trend was for villains in action blockbusters to be either British or broader European, he would have been really good in some, Michael Bay type films. you know, back in those days, in like a baddie in like the Bad Boys franchise or something like that, he would have been great. But like you said, obviously, his roles are mainly heroic, as you know, like his predecessors and people in this franchise. You know, Arnie hardly ever a couple of times played a villain in his career. Sly, I think Sly only played it in Spy Kids 3 or something
Right.
like that. You know, Bruce Willis occasionally, something like the Jackal or something like that. But I suppose when you're a leading man, you don't want, and especially in the action genre, you are always cast as the hero, aren't you, rather than the villainous role.
It's true. The accent was all I was thinking of. And you said it yourself, like that kind of proto-Euro villainous character. Like he had that, and we wouldn't have to have written around why he speaks with a. I know they always say French down in all his movies with a French, even though he's Belgian, with a French accent. That would have worked. And do you know what? Here he carries real threat. He's actually not in the film that much. Just screen time wise, I wouldn't have said. But when he is, he feels like he is a problem for the Expendables, which the first movie villains didn't really.
Yeah, well, he's a genuine physical adversary in this film, isn't he? Like you said, the first film, you had the main villain was Eric Roberts, who was a guy. It was like a bureaucrat in a shirt and tie. He didn't offer any physical. I know he had Stone Cold Steve Austin with him, who was the muscle. But in terms of the main villain, and when you go into the third film as well, Mel Gibson, although he's supposed to be like a former founder member of the Expendables, he's not really a great physical adversary for the team. It's more the verbal, mental side, even though he has that sort of one-on-one fight, or the stunt doubles have the one-on-one fight at the end of the film in some emptied out swimming pool or whatever it is at the top of a high-rise building. But as this one, he is a genuine physical adversary, isn't he? So he does carry that threat. And you know, to date in the series, is the only villain to actually take the life of one of the good guys as well. This is the only film in the entire 4-film series where someone actually proves to be expendable, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It's hilarious, isn't it? To name your film that and then to make everybody indispensable. I don't know what the opposite of expendable is, but yeah, it doesn't. It's a shame that they haven't done it more often, I think. Although we don't want to see big names go and we don't want to see heroes die, when your crew is named the Expendables and none of them are expendable, it's a bit silly, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, they teased us with it in part 4, didn't they? But the bait and switch that we all saw coming a mile off anyway, when, you know, poor Jumbo Shrimp or whatever his name was the sacrificial lamb. But yeah, you know, it's billed as sort of like the you know, like the Suicide Squad, really, where not all will come back alive, kind of thing, but they always do all come back alive, you know,
with barely a scratch normally.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, you know, I suppose it's again, it's not supposed to be taken too seriously. It's also supposed to be taken with a pinch of salt. All these films, that's what makes them so great, and you know, they are that throwback style. But yeah, a little bit more jeopardy wouldn't go amiss. But yeah, like you said, this film is the one time we genuinely get that. Oh, you know, someone's going to get it, and you know, someone does, yeah.
And even before the event, even before one of the Expendables is killed off, just something about Van Damme's presence, something about having Scott Adkins by his side as well, of course, basically playing Boyka. Sort of feels like a Boyka origin story if his character had made it to the end, which of course as a henchman he doesn't, but it sort of feels like his origin story too. How he ended up in prison was from this. But yeah, just that scene when they're all in, I know we're jumping straight into the movie, but that scene when they're in the mist and the fog when they come out, there's just I don't know, there's a presence about Van Damme and with Scott Adkins next to him, and there's a feel of like, oh shit, like they're in trouble here. And it's the only time I would argue in this movie that it feels that way. I think even at the end, there's not really a lot of jeopardy, and there's definitely none in the first movie. So it was welcome for that one scene at least.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant, and that's what's so good about Van Damme in this film is like you say, his presence, but his delivery is so off kilter in a way. It's like he's got the script and he's gone, right, I'm just going to throw all the punctuation out of the script and just deliver the lines, you know, in almost like a Jeff Goldblum kind of way, where he'll sort of do a sentence, but then sort of stop the sentence halfway through and not deliver it, the way you and I would talk, or quote unquote regular people would talk, where you deliver something in a certain way. He'll like say a line and then he'll sort of gaze into the middle distance a bit and sort of ruminate on what he's just said, and then go back to the rest of his line. It's very, very offbeat performance, rather than being purely sort of mustache twirling. His performance is big, it's huge, it's broad, but there's, I don't know, there seems to be like a weird, dare I say, sophistication to his performance, or maybe I'm just looking for something that's not there. I'm not sure if I've kidded myself with that statement, but yeah, there just seems to be something quite intellectual about the way he performs in the film. Yeah.
No, I love that. I hadn't even thought of it, but the way you've explained it makes total sense, because he does have a weird like cadence to it and inflection to the way that he talks, and that sense of like he's not quite existing on the same plane as us, therefore you don't know what he's going to do. Yeah, I like that idea, and I think that probably is what he was going for.
Yeah, I think it adds to the character, like the
Yeah.
unpredictability of like when he does kill. Well, I don't want to say too much in case we're not in. I don't know if we're spoiling it.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so when he obviously kills Liam Hemsworth's character, whose death is completely telegraphed earlier in the film. With
I
his
gotta
sort of
get
intention.
home to see my girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll work till the end of the month. This is my notice.
Oh.
I'll do this one last job and all this, because I've got a girlfriend. They give him someone outside of the group. He's the only one. Well, actually, no, apart from Statham, he's has like a life outside the group. So it's you can see it coming a mile off. But yeah, it's that unpredictability, because you're not sure if he's gonna. I mean, obviously you do with the hindsight, but I kind of cast my mind back to first scene. You're not sure whether he's going to let him go or he's going to kill him, because then you think they're going to let him go, because the chopper comes to take them away, and he tells the good guys to just lie on the ground till we're gone, and you think he's going to save the boy, because he seems to have almost a little bit of honor about him, because he could literally have just blown them all away there and then, and that's the end of that, isn't it? You don't have to worry about them then. But he sort of says, sort of honor amongst fighting men or whatever. So, I'll leave you to it. But you're not quite sure if he's going to do it. And then obviously he does in the most dramatic and ridiculous way to kill a man you could ever come across. But it's great, isn't it?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah. I mean, they should have just put Liam Hemsworth in a red shirt for the whole movie, to be honest. I mean, You're right. It's so telegraphed. It's that classic like war movie stuff. But as a Trekkie, as a Trekker, whatever the common term is nowadays, I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't care. I like Star Trek. You call me what you want. That old like cliche of the red shirt. He just needed to be in it, because he was never coming out this movie alive.
Oh no! It's the first one in, first one out. Last one in, first one out.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. But yeah, it is ridiculously sort of put out there for all to see. But
even his Expendables code name, he's Billy the Kid. Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. So he's the one that everyone cares about. He's the knight. Of course he's going to go. Like,
yeah, because he's. Yeah, exactly. They make that comment when after the first mission, where they're sort of chilling out the bar, and Sly's like, "This life isn't for you, is it?" And he's like, "No, I don't think so." So it's gonna cost him. But that does lead though to one of the most ridiculous bits of dialogue ever, when they have the makeshift burial for him, and funeral, and they're of gathered around the grave, and Sly's like, takes the time to like ruminate on the meaning of life, and he says, why is it that those that deserve to live die, and those of us that deserve to die the most live? And then he sort of goes to the guys, what's the message in that?
Yeah.
I mean, as if you'd say that, as if anyone in life would actually say that to, especially a bunch of like, military grunts. You wouldn't just go, yeah, well, life's not fair, but hey, what's the message in that, guys? Who even talks like that? But I did laugh when I rewatched that last week when I was refreshing my memory. It was, I was kind of like sinking into the couch while I was watching it.
Oh, absolutely.
Sort of borderline embarrassment, but yeah, it is great.
It's funny, isn't it? It doesn't land at all. But you think of some of the stuff that Stallone has written. I mean, the one that always sticks with me, and maybe a lot of people I don't know, is the Rocky Balboa. It doesn't matter how hard you can hit. It only matters how hard you can get hit and keep. Like, what a beautiful line that is. And the moment with his son, and it's so powerful. he is capable of writing these like
Mm.
mantra lines, we know. But yeah, this one doesn't land at all. That whole scene is madness, that he's reading out this personal letter that
Yeah.
Billy's written for his girlfriend. That whole
Yeah.
I find that whole subplot a bit weird. It's kind of like a World War subplot.
Mm.
Like Billy's like he's the sacrificial lamb, if you like, within the team that was never going to make it. He's got this French nurse girlfriend, which sounds very like World War One.
Yeah, who he met when he was serving in Afghanistan or something, as you do.
Yeah. He's got this
Yeah.
letter in his pocket, and it's that classic war movie thing, isn't it? Where like, take my letter and give it to my loved one. These are my thoughts. And like, it's a
Yeah.
weird subplot in like in what is a modern action movie.
Yeah, it's a bit bizarre. I mean, it would have been great if what he'd written had been a really like saucy X-rated letter to her, and Sly had to read that out at the funeral, and everyone's like, looking at the ground embarrassed, and the lady who joins the team as well is like, what the fuck is going on here, I suppose that's a bit insensitive on me, isn't it? Really, it's to spoil the beauty of the moment. But yeah, it is weird, isn't it? It seems so kind of like not shoehorned in, but like really sort of out of place with the tone of the film, because the tone of the film is very light in a way, isn't it?
It is.
It's so played for laughs with so many parts of it, and some of the other appearances by some of the veteran, like the Chuck Norris cameo, is pure comedy. Sly and the exchange between Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the end battle is just purely for laughs. None of it's serious. But then, you just have this sort of moment that's supposed to be this like heavy, dramatic moment full of pathos, and it just kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But I do like it.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's one of the you like it because of the ridiculousness, and I loved your impression, like that idea of like sinking into the couch. It's absolutely right. That is how it feels. It's like, oh, you're going for something, and it's not working, and the scene is still going. Oh, and it's still going. Oh no, and it's still like it seems to take forever to get past it as well. It's a little bit of a soggy section of the movie, I think. I think the opening, we'll go back to the start in just a minute. The opening up until Billy the Kid's death is good, pretty strong. Particularly the pre-credit sequence is awesome. I'd say it's probably it's the best bit of Expendables there is out there, I think.
Hands down.
And the end is pretty strong as well in the airport. But that kind of middle section is a bit stodgy, I think, in this movie.
Yeah, it does the pace kind of slackens off a bit, doesn't it? Really, it's a bit of a shame. I mean, I completely agree with what you're saying about the action. The action in this film is a cut above anything else in the franchise. But I think that's to do with the director, Simon West. He'd done Con Air before this, and obviously done The Mechanic with Statham, and what's the other film he did? He directed Wildcard with Statham as well. So there's some working relationship there. But yeah, the way he shoots the action is so much. I mean, we talked about it at length when we talked about the first Expendables film, that you can't see what's going on because Sly's directing style and all the whip pans and the editing every like split second of a frame is a new shot, and you can't see what's going on. But here you really get a look for it, and the camera moves with the action. It is so much better. I think the like we say, we can say about the dialogue and some of the weird choices and things, but the action in this film is a cut above, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Choreography strong, as you said. Camera lets us actually see what's going on, as does the lighting. The cinematography, particularly. Let's go to the start of the movie, shall we? Particularly in that opening 10 minutes, which is the Expendables storm on like some sort of military compound, isn't it? Where a mysterious figure is being tortured.
Yes, under the hood. Because they're there to rescue some, I think he's a Chinese scientist or something like that, isn't he? But obviously we discover there's another player who's also been sent to do the same thing, but it's not gone so well for him. I mean, that is a huge surprise appearance. Obviously, Schwarzenegger's in the film, everyone knows that. But as a great opening, to have him in the opening sequence when they pull the hood off his head and it's him, and then there's that back and forth dialogue he has with the team, like calling Dolph Lundgren Frankenstein and all the rest of it. That's very cool. That's
your big gun.
It is, but then it's kind of weird how
Terry Crews' big weapon, doesn't he?
He does, don't we all? But then it's kind of weird how would they say, right? Well, oh dear, this is how awkward this is. But and then they sort of leave the room and he goes, "You go this way, I'll go that way," and then he's never seen again.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's weird.
how does he go? He goes, "Yeah, I've got a team waiting for me, but where is said team? Why didn't they come in and rescue him?" He must have the worst team, and then you never see his team. It's when he shows up, it's always like it's just him, isn't it? He never brings any of his crew with him ever across the 3 films that he's in.
No, that's true. I did wonder whether he was pulling like a Black Widow, or like he was letting himself be captured and tortured in order to get close to, like at the start of the Avengers.
Yeah,
He's been
maybe he
captured.
was.
That this sort of doesn't sell that really, but I just wonder whether because it doesn't make any sense that Trench has been caught, that he's this other great, equal to Barney, and he's been caught, and it's a weird scene, isn't it? It's great that it's him.
Yeah,
And we get him so early on. I agree with that, but it doesn't pay off that it's him.
No, I mean, I suppose it gives him, it serves as a purpose because it gives him a reason to then go and rescue them, doesn't it? When they're trapped at the end of the film, and because like Slice as well. I guess that makes us even now, doesn't it? And he goes, yeah, it does, and obviously he hangs around for the end fight. So I suppose it serves as, I think maybe they just put it in as a plot device for him to have a reason to show up in the in the middle of Eastern Europe to go and rescue them, when you think why would he bother, so I suppose it's just that, to give him a reason to show up. But yeah, it as taken in isolation, it's a bit of a weird cameo, but it is great.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. We get Terry Crews, isn't he? Like, your ass is terminated and all this kind of stuff. I know that's kind of the right reaction. How did you feel in general about the kind of referencing and meta comedy and buddy banter in this movie? Would you think it works?
It does. I think it does if you're in on the joke, like guys like us who know these films and know these actors and know the banter, especially the Chuck Norris stuff, where he sort of comes out with the Chuck Norris, one of the Chuck Norris facts when he talks about the King Cobra and everything, and you can see he's having a really good time with it as well. And there's a certain joy to see Bruce Willis and Schwarzenegger trade I'll be back and Yippee-ki-yay and all that. It's if you're a fan of those guys and a fan of their signature roles, then to see them sort of come out with that, it's great. I mean, it takes you out of the film, doesn't it? It really does.
Yeah.
It completely takes you out of the film, because it immediately takes you out of the film and makes you think of the films they're referencing. But at the same time, you've got to be kind of a heart of stone person and pretty po-faced to not enjoy it and get off on that kind of thing. I mean, you can say it serves literally no purpose, but overall, yeah, it's good fun. I can't really critique it too much. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think it gives you that little wry sense of like, oh yeah, that's fun. I think I prefer the ones later on. I prefer the Arnie Bruce Willis like trading, but perhaps that's because it's those two and how well known they are for their quips and how good they are at delivering their quips. Maybe I like Terry Crews. I think he's amazing in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I don't think he didn't quite sell that earlier moment to me. So maybe it's more to do with like his delivery of it, and because when it's Willis, and Willis is on fire in this movie, he's on like Willis form. Every time he's on screen in this, I'm so happy to see him.
Yeah.
When it's those two like trading backwards and forwards, I don't know. It's a bit too much. It's a bit of a shame they couldn't like come up with new ones, come up with their own, like come up with Expendables quotes that we could take forward and could hit the zeitgeist and stuff. But yeah, it's still nice to hear it, isn't it? I think I'll be back. No, you've been back enough. I'll be back. Oh, yippee-ki-yay! Like that's cute and fun, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? It's silly, it's throwaway. It's there to make the fans laugh. So you can't knock it too much. And again, if you're looking for high drama and you come to the wrong place, haven't you? Really, you know what you're getting here. So you may as well just go with it and enjoy it and take it for what it is. Really, I think.
No, I agree, and I think the opening establishes that if you didn't know, if you missed Expendables 1 and you're just tuning in for Expendables 2, the opening just tells you exactly what you're going to get. You get like Mad Max style Jeeps. You get like a zip line escape like out of Tango and Cash.
Yeah.
But plus you get like a go fast boat chase. You get like the seaplane scooping up jet skis. It's all brilliant. It's like, and this, and this, and this. And it's just it's over the top and like macho, but just so much fun. It's like a little mini movie. It's brilliant.
Oh, it is. It is. It's got everything in that opening 10 minutes, hasn't it? It's got absolutely everything. And like you said, you don't need to have seen the first one to dive straight in, because none, other than Statham's attempt in the first film, there's no backstory for any character per se. They just exist within this team, so you can literally just turn it on and enjoy it. But it's great. I mean, there's it's well put together. There's literally no subtlety. I mean, each vehicle's got like some message on it, hasn't it, as well? Like, knock knock, or I can't remember what else is written on, but
well, I was going to quiz you on that.
oh right, yeah. I might come up short here, but I'll have a go.
All right, so so there's 3 vehicles.
Yeah,
You've got Toll Road and Hell Caesar in one. You've got Gunner and Yin Yang in the other, Jet Li's character. You've got I know it's great, isn't it? You've got and Barney and Christmas in the third. So between the 3 vehicles, there are 4 sayings.
Is one knock knock?
One is knock knock.
One is knock knock.
That's on Gunner and Yin Yang's. They've got like an extendable pole they use to push through the wall. It says knock knock. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no. It would be something ridiculous like die, or I can't go on. Put me out of my misery. What does it say?
So on Toll Road and Hell Caesar, they've got bad attitude.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, yeah.
And it's all stenciled in that kind of like A-team, like stencil, like font, isn't it, as well? And then on Barney and Lee's, they've got shock and awe on the front, and they've got coming soon on the back, on the scoop they've got on the back, which is quite cool because Barney does like a 180, doesn't he? And then reverses through the barricades, and there it says like coming soon, which I think is quite cute and quite funny. But again, it's just another thing that tells you the level of thing that you're getting. There's nothing sophisticated about these, but there's fun.
Exactly. I mean, they are like we said in the last discussion, they are the least covert Black Ops team you'll ever come across. I mean, it is ridiculous. No, but it's very cool. It's very cool. I love the zipline escape as well. I think that's really well shot together. Although they seem to zipline like through pylons and things, because you're thinking, well, they're going through. You think the zipline can't carry on because you're at like a partition, but it just goes and goes and goes and goes, doesn't it, all the way down? But it's best not to think about these things, really.
Definitely not.
Yeah. No, but it's very, very good, and the stuff on the water is pretty cool as well. And then the end where they blow up the bridge, it's a very cool sequence, really. And then we get the Statham's immortal line about Chinese takeout. When Yin Yang decides to, due to Jet Li's scheduling conflicts, drop out of the film and never be seen again until the end of the 3rd film, to obviously take this scientist or doctor back to home or whatever. And yeah, he goes that brilliant line. That's what I call Chinese takeouts.
And just before that, Dolph Lundgren's Gunner said, like, who am I going to pick on now? And Jet Li says, you'll find a new minority. So it's all that's probably the best bit of banter in the movie, actually, that whole scene.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I think the banter's a bit sharper in this one than I think in the first film. And what's good as well is that this film as well, the whole team is together throughout the film, doing everything as like a 5 or a 6, I suppose, because they have Maggie who joins up with them. Obviously, Billy's died, so it leaves them as 6. Whereas in the first film, the whole team is only together at the very start when they kill those Somalian pirates, and then at the very end for the huge ending to the first film. But in between, the whole team are not working together. You get Stallone and Statham going to the island by themselves, don't they, to do like the recon work, and then they have the big shootout there, and then they come back with the team. But and other than that, you don't see them apart from then. Obviously, you had the bit with Jet Li where he has the fight with Dolph Lundgren when Lundgren turns heel for a bit and then gets very easily forgiven for trying to kill them. Just write it off as it was the drugs. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
Once he goes cold turkey, we'll forgive him for trying to kill us and sell us out. and all that. But yeah, but whereas in this film, it is like the team is the team, and they're all the way through. You know, when in the middle section, it's no one's going off doing side quests. It's still like they're all together doing team. So I like that. That's what I think for me makes it a lot better than the first one, in that you're fleshing out, Terry Crews and Randy Couture. Given a lot more to do in this film, aren't they? Dolph Lundgren is too. Obviously, you're taking Jet Li out of the film, but that aside, it's a lot more. It's a lot more of an ensemble piece, isn't it?
That's a really good point. Do you think the film misses Jet Li?
Yes and no. I think I think it misses him because he's a different type of. Like his visual action style is different to the others. He's more diminutive. He's a martial artist, so he's not. You get a bit of that at the start where he's bashing people with a saucepan on their face, comedy style. It's like something out of Bottom, really. The old saucepan to the face. So yes, but then at the same time, he's not a huge loss, is he? I think the banter scenes probably work better without him. I don't think his delivery isn't the way he delivers a line isn't really suitable to like quick fire banter and all that. So maybe not. And then if he had stuck around the whole time, there probably would have been some really ham-fisted effort to put him and Maggie together as belonging to roughly the same ethnic group. Something they would have made some ham-fisted romance or something between the two. So although it's a shame he's not in it more, I don't think it's a massive loss overall to the film. What do you reckon?
No, I think you're right. It's surprising because we're talking about Jet Li not being a massive loss, and we know how talented Jet Li and what he is and what he can bring to the table. But I think of the crew of the Expendables, he probably is the most expendable. And I think you've brilliantly, I couldn't say it any better than you have done, for all those reasons you laid out, that in the way that in the dynamics of the group, he's kind of the outsider one. He always was in the first movie anyway. They spoke about how nobody really knew anything about him. He makes up these stories, doesn't he, about I've got this family that I've got to provide for. And so he was always kind of a little bit on the periphery anyway. So it makes sense. I mean, because we bring in Jean-Claude and we bring in Scott Adkins and we bring in Nan Yu, I think, plays Maggie.
Yeah.
Because we bring in these people, we are adding to the cast anyway, aren't we?
Exactly, yeah. And we're getting Chuck Norris as well, and more Arnie and more Bruce than in the first film. So they're certainly adding to the pot rather than taking away from it, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a shame, but I think he gets a really good scene. He gets a payoff line before he goes, which is him kind of owning his place within the Expendables. Like, yeah, of course you'll find something else to say. So yeah, I think it's handled nicely, I think.
Yeah, I do. It's brief, but it's worthy. So at least they get to bring him back in the next film. But again, only a very small role where he's not doing a lot really in the third film. He's basically firing a gun out of the side of the chopper with the Schwarzenegger. He doesn't do any fighting as such, does he? He just turns up to help Harrison Ford and Schwarzenegger in the chopper at the end, aren't they? They don't get on the ground and get involved. But
I cannot remember him.
Found a way back.
Sorry, yeah, I cannot remember him in the third film at all. So that probably says a lot.
Oh, that's literally all he does when they have obviously the big fight and Harrison Ford decides to enter the fray, doesn't he, and get his flight suit on and fly the chopper. And Schwarzenegger turns up to help him, and he's brought Yin Yang along with him, I think, who's like sort of they insinuate that he's sort of joined Schwarzenegger's team or something like this, So, and they literally are just firing guns out of this chopper. They don't get involved and get into it and start punching people or anything. So it's probably they could only get him for a couple of days or something like that. So and reading about this film, they said the exit of this film, it wasn't purely a creative choice. It was purely because that's all he had something else scheduled, so they only had him for a very limited window. So it was either they do it that way or he's not in the film at all. So I think they did the best with what they had, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think all his stuff was filmed in Hong Kong, wasn't it? Like where he was when he was doing his filming, and so it's pretty seamless how they managed to fit it all in. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And they knew they were going to kill somebody off in this movie. I'd rather they wrote him out in the way they did than he was the one that was killed off. I'm glad they brought in like a sacrificial lamb rather than kill off the Jet Li character.
Yeah. Well, it leaves that door open then, doesn't it, for him to, like we said, step back in, albeit briefly, in the third film. So I guess if you're going to kill off the lesser name, aren't you? You know, although Liam Hemsworth's gone on to, you know, star in films, and you know, he's probably a bigger name now than a lot of the people in this film. At the time, obviously, he was young, wasn't he? He was quite new. He was, you know, in the shadow of his more famous older brother from the Marvel world. So, you know, I suppose it would have been probably frowned upon more, and they probably wouldn't have gone down as well with the fan base if they had killed Jet Li off. So I think
I agree.
I think it was a wise decision not to do it. I think it was keep him around for future opportunities. So wise decision.
Interesting. He didn't have to work out the month though. He didn't have to see the month out like Billy, did he? He's allowed to just go. I mean, seniority maybe, and he put in his time.
Yeah, maybe because he'd been there longer. He'd accrued more holiday leave or something like that.
I just find that line so weird. Like, you work for the Expendables, you don't get paid a monthly wage. Surely you get paid a percentage of whatever the team earns when they do a mad mission. It's so weird. It's like, I'm going to see the month out.
Yeah, I can't imagine they're on salary, are they? Like,
no.
You know, you get paid X amount a week. Yeah, like you said, it'll just be a cut of the money, and you know, seniority rules, you probably would get the least cut. But unless he was just, you know, knew that, because indeed, like the mission that they go on, where he meets his end, that's only given to them after that exchange, because they have that discussion, and then Sly randomly decides to ride his bike to
I love it.
Just at night, to just go leave the party and just go and have a look at the airplane, you know, just go and take a look at it.
Doesn't tell anyone, just cuts out, just ghosts everyone. I'm just off.
He's you know, the night's young, and he just decides to drive to the airfield and look at the plane. And then obviously Bruce Willis is away, and you get the impression it wasn't a planned meeting. Obviously, he hadn't arranged to meet it, because it's like a surprise. He's like, oh shit, and then obviously,
how long had Church been waiting there for? How long could he have been waiting there for? It's so weird.
How did he know? How did he know he was going to be there as well?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is he psychic, or did he, you know, cause it somehow? It literally has no, because he couldn't have followed in there. Because if he'd have followed in there, he wouldn't be waiting for in there. So it defies all logic, really. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so that mission was like forced on them anyway, wasn't it? It wasn't like he wasn't saying, "I'll work the month out," and we've got this mission now that we're going to go and rescue this MacGuffin item from this plane. It was like, I'll just, you know, what is next? You know, did they have something next? And you know, he couldn't possibly known that this job was coming, because no one did. It was literally like, he turns up Bruce Willis and goes, right, you're doing this because you owe me. If you don't, I'll throw you in a hole in Guantanamo Bay, or whatever it is he says to him. So it's but maybe we're asking too much for a bit of logic in this film.
Yeah, who needs logic? What we need instead is some rampant misogyny from Stallone when Willis's church tells him that he's going to put Maggie on his team because she's like a code breaker and they need her for the safe. He's like, a woman? I'm not a babysitter. It's again, it's so weird.
No, it is a bit out there. But her character's good though, because they make her, like, you know, very much a capable character. She says she says I'm combat proficient, and she is. Whereas in the first film, you had the general's daughter, who was, although she was like a tough person, she was fun. At the end, she was fundamentally the damsel in distress, wasn't she? That they had to go and rescue. Whereas at least in this film, you're getting a strong female character. So I like that they kind of redressed that balance a little bit, even like you said, despite, you know, the ridiculous response he gives at the start, like, we ain't taking no women on jobs and things. But you know, at least they made her sort of equal to the guys, didn't they?
Oh, agreed. Yeah, she totally holds her own in the gunfights, doesn't she? She tortures some of the guys when they're in off camera, but she does.
Oh,
yeah, the torture in Bulgaria. Yeah,
she has a little torture kit in her back pocket, like, you know, just carry it around, because you never know when you're going to have to torture somebody. You know, you know, she has that in a kit. So
it's an important skill to have, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
It is. Well, you never know when you're going to have to pry some information out of some bad guy in the back end of Eastern Europe. So, you know, have your torture kit ready, I guess. But it's she's given good stuff to do, and you know, she's very much involved in the end fight, and You know, when they decide to help the villagers as well, there, you know, she's involved in that. So yeah, they give her plenty to do. It's good to see, I suppose.
And Jet Li's Yin Yang was absolutely right in his prediction, because Dolph Lundgren does just start replacing his xenophobic is maybe the right word comments that he
Yeah,
aimed towards Yin Yang towards her instead, doesn't he? About like, oh, I could eat when they're having their dinner, they're like having their
yeah,
what looks like army rations or like spacemen food. I could eat
yes,
Chinese tonight. But she's quick enough to come back, isn't she?
yeah,
She's
yeah,
like, I'd rather eat Italian. Sly, hello. So
yeah.
she's up for that banter too.
Yeah, I thought they might have paired them up or something, her and Sly, you know, because it's like you said, this kind of it's hinted at, isn't it? But I suppose I suppose he's got no time for such things, Barney, has he? In the first film, it was hinted at with the general's daughter that there might be a frisson of something there, even though both women are probably at least 30 years. At least 30 years younger than him, but you know, I guess he's just he's married to the mission, isn't he, Barney? He's all business.
He is. I also wonder whether there's some coding going on here and whether Barney doesn't like women, because he
All right, okay.
disapproves of Tool and his bit of stuff in the first movie, doesn't he? Do you remember he
Right,
brings
yeah,
in like a biker chick
yeah,
and
he
he's like,
does, yeah,
oh, going up there for sex with a biker
yeah,
chick. Yuck. He disapproves of Charisma Carpenter and Lee Christmas being in a relationship.
he does,
He
yeah,
doesn't
yeah, yeah.
pursue these women who are basically throwing themselves at him.
Mm.
I wonder if there's like some maybe I'm now reading way too much. So whether there's some subtle coding of like women are not his thing.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, I'm trying to think what happens in the third film on that score. I don't think no, I don't think there are any in the third, other than Ronda Rousey when he sort of recruits the younger talent.
Mm.
So yeah,
He
yeah,
certainly
maybe
seems to enjoy penetrating Verlaine at the end of the movie.
he does, doesn't he? And he's, you know, he says, "You want a man up? I'll man you up."
He does say
Um,
absolutely.
he does, doesn't he? God, you've just unlocked a whole new layer to this film. My God. Could be. I've never thought about it. I think that there'll probably be some essay somewhere
Mm.
online about it, which will break it down for you. There'll probably be throughout the entire script. There'll be certain key phrases, or there'll be certain looks in the film that he gives as well. You know, he's very pally with Christmas, isn't he? I think
Mm.
there's a very strong bond there. Like you said, you know, maybe he wants him for himself. I don't know. Yes, that's an interesting theory. Yeah, I'll have to revisit it and see where that sits.
Mm. Well, I have to say it's massively rewatchable. So I watched it about 10 days ago, I think, whenever we had initial
Mm.
plans to do this, didn't we? And then
Mm.
we've had to rearrange a couple of times, but we're here now, and that's what matters.
Yes, all
So
things come to those who wait.
absolutely. So I stuck it on today whilst I was doing stuff, and I thought I'll just
Yeah,
have it in the background. But I kept drifting and I kept drifting and I kept drifting. I ended up just watching it. I'm sure you could find some time to sit yourself down and watch it again, but through the queer lens to see if Barney is in love with Lee and wants him for himself.
yeah, yeah. I think he probably does. You know, I think yeah, he was willing to fake his own death to protect him in the fourth film. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think he could be onto a winner there. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a whole new project, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Rewatching to try and see if we can find out if there's any of the subtext in there somewhere.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure Sly would vehemently deny such a thing, but yeah, I think it's there.
Absolutely. You mentioned Chuck Norris. So he arrives when they're off in Bulgaria, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
His entrance is great as well, isn't it?
it is brilliant, isn't it? The way you know, they're sort of facing certain death, aren't they? Because they're cornered, they're literally out of ammo,
Mm.
and there's about 10 heavily armed guys bearing down on them. So they're kind of like, you know, oh, this is it. And then they all get mown down, and he sort of emerges from the smoke, you know, and he's this mythical guy Booker who like what's he called, the Lone Wolf, I think he's called, isn't he, or the Lone Ranger or the Lone Wolf or
It's the
something.
Lone Wolf, isn't it? 'Cause I think isn't that
Lone
referencing
Wolf,
one of his previous roles as well? Yeah.
Lone Wolf McQuaid, yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's pure ridicule. I mean, it is ridiculous, and he looks ridiculous as well. He has the most ridiculous dyed beard I think I've ever seen. You know,
Well, is his or is Sly's worse? That's a great question. That Sly's dyed beard and eyebrows and hairpiece. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is kind of bonkers, isn't it? Yeah. Um, but yeah, it is great. Yeah. Mind you, speaking of weird looks, did you notice as well during the film that so often when there's sort of dialogue scenes, it seemed to be shot in this weird kind of soft focus
Oh,
kind
okay.
of kind of way.
I didn't, but so they were putting on the filter, were they?
Yeah. Seriously, when you rewatch it, unless it was my version of it or something, maybe it was
Mm.
my stream on Amazon not working right. But in the dialogue scenes, a lot of it was shot in like soft focus, whether they're trying to
Mm.
make certain leading actors look, 10 to 15 years younger than they actually were in real life at the time. But yeah, there's a very weird look to it. Really weird creative choice that. But anyway, I digress. But yeah,
No, but I think you answered your own
yeah,
questions. You said it. I think it's probably it's a de-age. It's de-aging before de-aging.
yeah, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, before they developed the technology, I think it was the best they could do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, back to Norris. I mean, he does very. I mean, he's even back then he was an old man.
Mm.
Then he would have been in his 70s. I mean, he's 80 something now. So obviously, these days of sort of dealing out roundhouse kicks and fighting off terrorists with karate long gone. But I mean, he does very little in it other than sort of drop some doubt, and then randomly turns up at the end.
Yeah.
He saves them all, and then they say, "Come and join us," and he makes this big thing about, "No, I work alone. I work alone. You know this, Barney. You know I work alone." And don't be silly, you know it. And then just randomly turns up at the airport out of nowhere, and then hitches a ride home. I operate in this country. You've basically killed everyone, so therefore I have no like business anymore. So off to pastures new for me. It is ridiculous, isn't it? But you can't help but like it.
Oh, agreed. And I think that him in the airport is kind of fun. Retrospectively now, thinking about talking to you, I think it kind of takes away a little bit. Because that first scene is so good. You know what I mean? Like you say, he mows down all these men, he blows up a
Mm.
tank, he emerges out of the smoke and delivers some of the famous Chuck Norris facts and all that stuff. I think all that's brilliant. But then when you see him later and he stood next to Arnie and Bruce Willis, and you're like, oh, okay, I like Chuck Norris, and he's had his moment, and he was in
Mm.
some fun B movies, but he's not Bruce, he's not Arnie. So I think it just takes a bit of
No.
that power away, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was never on their level, even in the peak of his powers, was he? He was never, he never starred in those sort of A category blockbusters. He was very much like a Canon Films guy.
Mm.
I mean, you know me. I love those. I love those films. I worship Canon movies. So it's all good for me. I love it. But yeah, he was never on their level. He was a bit more of a go and rent one from the video shop in the
Mm.
80s kind of guy, wasn't he? You didn't really see Chuck Norris films at your local cinema, even back then. Not
Mm.
really, anyway. So no, he was never a megastar. But I mean, I like that they put him in there and at least give him that moment in the sun,
Mm.
to at least acknowledge his place in the pantheon. But yeah, it's daft, it's silly, but you would have to not be, unless you got like a very weird personality, if you don't have a big beaming smile on your face when he's on screen,
Mm.
just the ridiculousness of it. I mean, I read somewhere that he actually was very reluctant to do it because he'd kind of something like he'd forsaken violence or something like this. So he didn't want
Oh,
to be in a
okay.
film. He didn't want to be in a film with like violence, even though he must kill about 20 blokes in this film easily.
Easy, yeah.
Between that scene and then him showing up at the airport for a bit more, he must kill 20 to 30 men single-handedly, with just mows them down with a machine gun, like it's nothing.
Mm.
But he was sort of very reluctant to do it. Because I think they were sort of betwixt and between what kind of rating to go for in this film anyway. Because if you can tell a lot of the blood is added sort of
Mm.
digitally, isn't it? There's a lot. I think they were toying with PG-13, which they ended up doing for the third film.
Mm-hmm.
But with this one, they were going for it, but then decided no, let's stick with that kind of more R-rated territory. So you
Yeah.
can clearly tell, can't you, in a lot of the shots, the blood is very CGI rather than using like practical squibs. they've kind of had a change of heart late in the day and added that in. But they get away with it, I think, for the most part.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure now the technology is good enough that it's hard. It's probably quite hard to tell. It's not quite here in this day and age. I agree with you. I think the CGI blood is pretty noticeable, and there's nothing like a good squib, is there? Like it's got to be one of the best inventions ever in cinema. I think is the squib.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. And I would have liked, especially because we're shooting for that kind of throwback action film as well. Bringing back guys from yesteryear and guys from a certain era, guys from a certain age group. So it was a shame they didn't have a bit more of that. And a lot of it in the first film was kind of CGI blood as well. When you see in the first one when they're mowing down guys left, right, and center, when they're slaughtering the pirates at the start, it looks very CGI, the blood and guts. And it does lose something, I think, doesn't it, by not having sort of guys getting properly shot and things like this.
I guess we'll revisit this when we do Expendables 3, because I think probably then when we've got the PG-13 rating, we'll be hankering for the CGI blood. So it's interesting, is it? Like they can't really win no matter which way you go. Like, I'm glad they went for the R rating. I was glad they went for the higher rating. But
I do.
As you said, I think I would have preferred it if they committed early.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it was obviously a late decision. And there's not a lot of swearing in the film either compared to the first one. There's not many F-bombs in it. If are there any at all?
I think there's any. Yeah, I can't think of any.
There might not be, to be honest with you. And nobody dies like a really horrific death as such. Scott Adkins apart, I suppose, but even then, it's so quick, isn't it? It literally just backs on, and then he's sort of, you very briefly see him sort of Son's head, and then he's sort of he's out the picture kind of thing. But he certainly plays a good part. I think I think as a villainous duo, him and Van Damme are really good. There's a good chemistry between them, and I think it's I mean, I read somewhere he was offered a part in the first film, Scott Adkins, but had to turn it down. So I don't know what that would have been. Maybe he would have been the Brit in the first film, like the Gary, is it Gary Daniels? I think that's his name. The guy who's like the third in command after Steve Austin, with like the Fu Manchu stash, who has that martial arts fight with Statham and Jet Li in these sort of catacombs. I think maybe he would have probably been offered that, you would have thought, but had to turn it down, and obviously then got his part in this. But I think Scott Adkins is one of those guys. I think he's a real star. I think he's I think he's a very underrated actor as well. I think he can act a lot better. Like you see his performance in John Wick 4. It's a lot of fun. I mean, obviously it's not serious, but it's a lot of fun, and he does good accent work, and shows a bit of versatility. I think it's a shame for him that at least to this point he's not broken through to sort of that level of. I mean, obviously he's a leading man and stars in films, but he's not starring in films that are getting cinematic releases as such as over the supporting roles here and there in them. So it's a shame for him, really, because I think he is probably that next generation, isn't he? Of I don't know what age he is now. He must be quite deep into his 40s at this point, but he is quite that next echelon, I think, of stars, action men. And it's a shame, really. I think he's not had that one big breakout performance. It's a shame.
I couldn't agree with you more. I've gone down the rabbit hole watching his films this year. I was just, as you were talking, if I looked a bit distracted, sorry, I was trying to get into my letterbox to see, because I've watched 37 of his films this year. Because he is like a late discovery for me. I guess I'd seen him and stuff, but I hadn't really thought about it. And then I was like, oh shit, this guy, he's fucking brilliant. So I've watched all the Boyakers. I've gone down this massive rabbit hole. So I've even watched more Scott Adkins than I have Jason Statham this year, which is quite surprising, really, considering I'm trying to watch every Statham movie. But he's an interesting one because I can't tell whether he wants it. I think much like the Stath, he's quite happy in his little niche. I think he likes the films he makes. He gets to take, he's a producer now. He gets to choose what he does and produces it. And I think he's quite happy in the world he's in. I mean, I'm sure he would take it if somebody offered him, do you want to be the next Jason Statham and have the mega bucks he's got and the roles he's getting? But by that same token, I think, I want to make the Debt Collector and the Debt Collector 2. I want to make One Shot and the sequel, which I don't know if it's going to be called Two Shot or whether it's going to be called, but I think he's quite happy in this world where he's got a bit of control. And then he, as you said, jumps in and does John Wick 4 and steals the show.
Mm. Yeah, it's a weird one, you know, why he hasn't sort of gone into that. I mean, I suppose that kind of action actor isn't really on trend, I guess. You know, these days you don't really get that kind of action performance anymore. You know, not in mainstream blockbusters.
No, I agree.
But I think, you know, he's got all the tools. You know, he's a decent enough actor. Obviously, he's got the martial arts prowess. He's a good looking bloke. He looks the part.
Yeah.
You know, he got good screen charisma as well. I did see once as well, actually, years ago. Well, not I say years ago. It's probably not that long ago. He did a screen test for Batman. I guess it was when they cast Affleck in Batman versus Superman. So we're going back about 10 years here, aren't we? And it's somewhere online of his like screen test where he's not in the costume, he's playing it as Bruce Wayne. But he looks like Bruce Wayne, doesn't he, Scott Adkins? When you think of Bruce Wayne, he does kind of look.
He looks like Ben Affleck, to be fair.
He is, isn't he? He's like that tall, dark,
yeah,
handsome, brooding, tough guy kind of thing. So yeah, he would have been a really good. He could have done a lot worse than cast him.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
You know, it's just a shame he's not had that one breakthrough moment. Like you said, even with this limited screen time in this film, he holds his own. You know, he good interactions with his sort of master Van Damme, and then, as you'd expect, a really good fight one-on-one with Statham as well. You know, he obviously, I think he's smart, probably the superior in real life, superior martial artist to Statham. Statham's a bit more of a screen fighter than probably a real fighter. But yeah, it's very good. And again, you know, Statham gets his moments as well. In of the 4 films, this is where he. You know, I know this is your Statham podcast, so I guess we better talk more about Statham, really. But this is probably the moment in the 4 films where he gets that big one-on-one fight as well, because he doesn't really get it in the other 3 movies, at least not that I can recall. Anyway, against some, you know, a decent name.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's good.
I think the fight's pretty decent. I guess because I'm such a big fan of the 2 of them, I sort of wanted a more They Live style epic showdown that went on for 10 minutes, perhaps. But yeah, you can see the skill level of the 2 of them in that scene, and I think it's shot really well. A lot of the shots are backlit, so they're in silhouette, which looks really cool. So yeah, I do like it, but I guess I just wanted more. I can't help but want a bit more.
Yeah, I suppose it is quite brief, isn't it? But I suppose it's not going to go on forever because they're not the 2 main. You know, they're kind of the entree to the main course, which of course is the Stallone versus Van Damme one-on-one fight, which that's quite an interesting one, isn't it? It's like it goes on long enough, I would suggest, but I don't know. Did you find it a little too one-sided? Like, I know at the start, Van Damme does a couple of big roundhouses and knocks him down, doesn't he? He's like, down so soon, I want my money's worth, whatever as he says before, you know, sort of begging him to get back up and fight. But it does seem like he doesn't get enough of his own shit in it. Kind of, I don't know. I guess, you know, obviously Stallone's the guy, so he's going to get more. But I don't know. It seemed a bit too one-sided.
No, I 100% agree. I watched Hidden Strike last night, the John Cena and Jackie Chan movie, the Netflix movie.
How was it? Is it any good?
Very, very average. But the best thing about that film is how they handled the physicality of the 2 characters. The big brawlingness of John Cena and the skill set. And, you know, you were saying about Jet Li before, you know, the smaller in stature, but the more skillful fighter. So, as you imagine, to begin with, they are antagonists towards each other. And then they become buddies and they go on and team up. But I thought the way they handled both those things, when they fight each other, John Cena's a threat because of how strong he is, and Jackie Chan's a threat because of how skillful he is. And then when they team up, they utilize those 2 skills perfectly to kind of combine together. And I think we could have had that here. We could have Barney like brawling and getting stuck in and taking hits and still keeping coming. And Van Damme showing us all that skill set that he's got and almost being kind of like, why won't this guy go down? Like, I can beat anybody, but this guy he's so tough. You know, channel Rocky again. You know, that's all Rocky ever used to do was soak up all the punishment until that guy's too knackered to fight anymore.
Yeah.
I love Rocky, by the way. That's not a dig, but that was his skill set, right?
Yeah, block punches with your face,
Yeah.
and just take an inhuman amount of punishment,
Yeah.
and then dig deep and find something in the end. But yeah, I completely agree with everything you've said there. It would have been nice just to see a bit more of what Van Damme brings to the party. You know, it's a shame because I read somewhere that Van Damme actually re-choreographed the fight.
Oh,
Like
okay.
they laid out this fight. I mean, again, this is on Wikipedia, so obviously it's very much a fact or fiction toss a coin, isn't it, Wikipedia? But it says here, Van Damme redesigned his final fight with Stallone with the latter's approval. Van Damme was unhappy with the scripted fight, which had his character running away and only a brief confrontation between the pair. He felt that the fans wanted a longer fight scene between the two actors, which is right. You know, you're bringing these two icons together finally. You want a good one-on-one. But yeah, we just don't get to see enough of his prowess, do we? I suppose, you know, and you know, we've spoken at length about what a great villain he is in this film. What a performance! And when it finally comes down to, you know, the showdown, it just seems like I don't know, he gets too easily beaten, you know, just by the fact that Stallone decides to drape a chain over his shoulders and be like, "Come on, then, come on, villain!" And
A bit like a feather boa, eh?
it is. Well, hey, we're going back into that territory, aren't we? It's all getting racy. But yeah, I hate to say it disappointed me because it is still a decent fight, and just to see Sylvester Stallone fighting Jean-Claude Van Damme on screen is a thrill. You know, just to see two absolute icons of action cinema having a brawl is great. But yeah, it would have just been nice to see Van Damme really, like you said, really go for it, lay it in thick, and him absolutely get pummeled to within an inch of his life. And you know he's going to win. Obviously, you know there's no question, is there? You're not watching this fight going, "Oh, what's going to happen here?" It's obvious what's going to happen. No one's going to question it. But you would have liked seeing a bit more jeopardy, wouldn't you?
100%. And that's where I think we said before that first scene, he feels like a threat, and it's taken away a little bit here. I mean, actually, this fight is good. I agree with you, but it's not as good as the Barney Stone Cold one from the Expendables.
No. Yeah.
Because it really feels that he does lose that fight. Actually, Barney loses that fight, doesn't he? And
Yeah, he does.
Saved last minute by somebody else. So, yeah, I think we needed that same level here. It's a little bit of a shame because it also starts weird. I don't know if I wrote down the dialogue because I don't know if you remember it. They're stood like facing each other, aren't they? And Jean-Claude Van Damme says, "You want to kill me like a man?" I'm not going to attempt the accent. I'm just not going there.
Yeah.
Or you want to kill me like a sheep? So, what's it going to be, man or sheep? What? I don't know what he's asking.
I know. Yeah. How does a sheep kill somebody? You know, I get the message behind it. He's saying because he comes going, "I'm out of bullets." He's out of bullets, isn't he? So he basically goes, "I'm out of ammo." So you could literally put one between my eyes right now, and that's the end of that. Or are you going to be a man? And you know, he's trying to bait him into fighting him one-on-one because he might have a chance. Otherwise, he's going to die. So I get what he's doing, but yeah, how do you kill someone like a sheep? You know, you would say
weird,
like
isn't it?
a mouse or something, wouldn't you? Like a sheep? What?
Is it meant to be like No Country when Sherga has like the air gun?
Yes.
Is that what he's kind of referencing? That you put down livestock.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
It doesn't work though, and I think the line is just shit because Van Damme's good in the rest of it in his delivery, isn't he? I just think the scripting here that just doesn't work, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, like you said, he goes, you get that line about you want to man up on man you up, and then obviously that fight, and then there's even that bit where he knocks him down, and he says he goes straight down, and Stone goes coming back up, and just jumps back up, and they go at it again. You know, it's daft, but again, if it had been a minute or two longer and a bit more variation and a bit more Van Damme, then you could be saying this is one of the great all-time iconic screen fights between two titans. But it just, I'm loath to say that I fell shortchanged by it, but I can't help wishing there was a bit more.
No, I agree. And because at the same time you've got Arnie and Bruce mowing down people, haven't you? You had that cool moment slightly before where it was Arnie, Bruce, and Sly all like lined up shooting through the glass and taking people out. So all of that is
Yeah.
paying off. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is a little bit of a little bit disappointing, isn't it?
It is just just a bit more. I mean, like we said, it's not like you would doubt who would win, but it's just a little bit more meat on the bone would have been
Mm.
nice.
Mm.
But you can't have it all, can you?
You can't. And as you said, at some point we should talk about the stage because he's, as you said, he had a couple of good scenes. He has the one in the church earlier on, doesn't he? When he's dressed
I
up
now
as the
pronounce you
priest.
man and knife.
Absolutely.
That's the
That's
best line that is the best line in the film. That is the
agreed.
best line in the
Agreed.
film.
And his
Yeah.
best fight, I think. I think actually that fight's slightly better than the Atkins one, when he's taken on lots of different goons around him with his knives, because I feel a bit of Lee Christmas knife action.
Yeah, no, that is good. That is really good. And the way he's dressed in like the priest's cloak with the hood up and everything,
Mm.
I like that a lot. I think it's a really well choreographed knife fight, and he looks great as well. It's almost like balletic the way he takes. There's about 6, 7 guys in the room. It's a small like church hall, isn't it? And the way he just takes them all out is fantastic. It really like shows him at the top of his game.
Mm.
It's very good. But yeah, I mean. I actually think he probably features, in a way, probably has less to do in this than he does in the first, because, like we were saying before, it's more of an ensemble piece.
Mm.
There's not that big section where it's just him and Stallone. He probably has a bit less to do, but what he does, I think it's still great. I like the scene where they go and, like you said before about Maggie with the torture kit. Before that, it's him and Sly in that bar with the knuckle dusters. He's saying,
Yeah, and they're flat caps.
Oh yeah, like they just brought some flat caps along. Some very strange fashion choices in these films. I can't wait to talk about the third one in due course. We can talk about that jacket that Sly wears when he goes on his recruitment drive with Kelsey Grammer. You'll need to rewatch it to see it, but
I
the
do,
jacket
yeah.
it's quite the fashion statement that he wears. It's proper like 60-year-old millionaire's jacket.
Oh, okay.
It is great. What was it? Oh yeah, but
That,
yeah. Statham. Yeah, I mean Statham is Statham in this film.
Yeah.
He delivers. His action is on point. His banter with Sly is there. I think there's just a little bit less of it, and probably a bit less for him. Not that I don't say a bit less for him to do, but I think there's less of a focus on him in this film, isn't there? I think.
I agree. I don't think it's a detriment to him, because I think
No,
I agree with you. When he's on screen, he's got his usual charisma. Him and Sly clearly got on in real life, and that translates to the way that the characters get on within the movie. There's that weird section when he's sent off to go and get some guns, and he disappears out the film for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, he misses the whole Chuck Norris thing, doesn't he? He's not there for that section. But then you don't see him do anything. Like, it's not like you see him go and fight a lot of baddies on his own in another section. He just basically just meets up with them again afterwards, doesn't he? That's it.
He says he gets lost for 7 hours or something. It's weird, but I think in order to fit everyone else in, naturally he has to have a bit less screen time, doesn't he? And what can you do when you've got all these other people in the cast? You say, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Arnie can have that 2 minutes. Bruce can have that 3 minutes. Chuck Norris can have that 3 minutes. You've got to, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. You're not. Although you're getting less of our guy, you're not feeling shortchanged by what you're getting in this film. That's why I think it is the best, because you're taking all the elements that you like from the first film and just giving you a bit more of it. You're getting much more Bruce Willis. You're getting much more on Schwarzenegger. Do you like Chuck Norris? Here's 10 minutes of Chuck Norris. You want a much better physical villain. Here you go. You want a grandstanding off-kilter performance. Eric Roberts, he is a good villain in the film, and I like Eric Roberts. Got a lot of time for him, but he plays it very. There's nothing exceptional about Eric Roberts in that first film, I don't think. But like we've spoken about Van Damme at length. His performance is so out there and unusual. It's all there in this film. I think it is. It's all subjective. It's all horses for courses, of course. But I think this is the high point of the franchise, in my humble opinion. Anyway, I think it just has the right balance of comedy, action, violence, sheer ridiculousness, larger than life stuff, you know, an actual death of someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think overall it's not perfect by any stretch of imagination. But I think overall it is, for me anyway, the high point of the series.
No, I think probably, you know, I'll be in the same place. So just the only thing at this point compared to the original, I think the original has a little bit more kind of edge to it, has a little bit more character. This one feels a little
Mm,
bit more formulaic, but I think it does do everything better.
mm.
And I
Yeah,
think the final exchange between Trench and Church and Barney kind of sums up this movie and what we should be thinking and feeling.
yeah,
Because when they've all won, but Barney's lost his plane because he crashed it into a mine, and because you do, and Church gives him a new plane, doesn't he?
yes.
Then if you remember this, so Barney says that thing belongs in a museum, and then there's a little pause, and Arnie's Trench says, "We all do." And it
Mm,
feels like there's an actual little genuine laugh from Slay. I don't know whether that was improvised or what, but there's just a real genuine kind of chuckle from Sly. And then Bruce
yeah.
walks past him as Church and says, "Fun, right?" And it's, you know, him and Arnie and, as you said, Chuck Norris are all leaving on the plane. But that little exchange between the three of them kind of, that's where we should all be. Fine, we're
Mm.
all too old for this shit, but we're all having fun. Just enjoy it for what it is. It sums it up perfectly.
It does, and I think you can tell everyone is enjoying themselves as well. You know, if you're one of those guys in this film and you're not having fun, then you're not. You
Yeah.
mustn't be a fan of. You mustn't be a fan of life, I don't think. But you know, you can tell it's for them to, I guess, to finally all come together in a film. Albeit, it would have been great to see them all together in a film in their heyday, in their prime, so to
Mm.
speak, when they were the biggest things going in cinema, and obviously were, you know, in their physical primes as well. That would, God, can you imagine what that would have been like? A
Mm.
late 80s, early 90s, Sly Bruce and Stallone all in the same film. The world would literally have ended. Um, well, mine would have. But yeah, you're right. It's a nice scene, and there's quite a bit. There's almost like a touching element to it as well, isn't
I
there? You
agree.
know, it's not, although it's light and it's played for laughs, and there's like a, not a sort of turning out of the lights kind of thing, but it's like, because you know there's another film to come. Obviously, we don't get Bruce Willis again in the franchise for, depending what you read, various reasons as to why he didn't come back for the third, like disputes over money and what have you. But it's almost like that kind of like, especially when they leave on the chopper and leave Sly behind, obviously, to take the shitbox plane with the team, and it's like, yeah, that's like
Mm.
sort of thank you and good night, isn't it?
It is. And I kind of wish the film ended there. We get a
Mm,
pointless, horrible French nurse gets some money scene.
mm.
And then we get the Expendables on the plane singing some weird mumbo jumbo collaborative chant. It's almost as if like the first film ended on poetry. We need some sort of like
Yeah. Oh my God.
literary.
Yeah.
It's a weird moment.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Whether it's like supposed to be. I mean, if I did some research, I'd probably find is it like some kind of American like military like chant song or something like that, or is it just like something they've made up themselves? I'm not sure whether there's like some actual military tie to that sort of
Mm.
thing they're coming out with. But it is a terrible, it's a terrible way to end the film. I'll be honest, it is shit, isn't it? Really, you know, you'd usually expect like some zinger of a one-liner or something like that, or like you said, you know, a wonderful bit of, you know, beat poetry again by Jason Statham. You know, delivered in the most ridiculous way, um, something like that. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's a really bizarre ending, isn't it? Really, kind of not what you're looking for, I guess. But you know, it is what it is, isn't it?
it is. So you do get the final line, don't you? Which is Lee saying, like, you should really learn to fight." That is
Yeah,
kind of
because
that
he's
is the
face.
final
Yeah,
line. But
it is, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
it's just a bit lost after that. And I think I did read something about it on the IMDb trivia, but it's gone out of my brain since. It clearly wasn't that memorable of a bit of trivia of a note. And I think it was Sly trying to like put his spin on that kind of, like you said, like that kind of military
Yeah.
chant. So we're all in it, all in it together, that hoorah stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not how I would have liked seeing it end, really. You know, maybe like you said, end it there with like them flying off and Stallone kind of like giving them like a nod or a salute or something, and then like maybe like a zinger of a one-liner with Statham or something. Then it's like, right, on the plane, lads, and you just see them board the plane, and the end credits as the plane takes off into the sky or something like that.
Oh, I
But
like that kind of
yeah,
Last Crusade
yeah,
style riding off into the sunset. Yeah.
exactly, something like that. So yeah, it's not the greatest way to end it, but yeah, you get what you're given, I suppose.
Do, and we're thankful for it.
I'm thankful for anything. Yeah, absolutely.
Before I get your final word, can I indulge you in some quick letterbox reviews?
Oh yeah.
All right, Lou Shoemaker, I'm starting with him today because he's not much of a fan. Here's the thing. The idea of making a throwback action movie in the vein of Commando or Rambo First Blood Part 2 actually appeals to me, but the style of these movies is thoroughly modern in all the worst ways. The cast is so massive that hardly all anyone gets to do is crack a one-liner, and half of them aren't action stars in any sense of the word. Terry Crews, Randy Couture, a bit harsh. The other half of the cast give new meaning to the term paycheck performance. The only one who has any fun is Jean-Claude Van Damme. He plays a bad guy literally named Villain. Full disclosure, I watched this and I got so bored to tears that I've basically forgotten anything Statham does in it. All I remember is that he has even less to do here than in the first movie, so he's not agreeing with you at all.
Yeah.
And his plot mostly revolves around the other guys calling him a wimp because he has a girlfriend, which we did touch upon. Not all the other guys, just Barney, but
yeah. Girls suck.
girls suck
Yeah.
according to Barney. It's true.
Yeah.
So not a fan of this one, sadly.
Well, he should wash his fucking mouth out, as far as I'm concerned. That's borderline blasphemous what he's just written. How dare he? How dare he? No, I'm only joking. It's his opinions are no less valid than ours. Not what I would say about the film, but I can't disagree with some of the points he makes. You know.
I think I understand his point about it. Like, if it's going to be full throwback, go full throwback. And you were saying that, get the scripts going, film on film, and do rather than digital, all that kind of stuff, like proper go full throwback. It also did remind me, whilst you were talking a minute ago, you were talking about like, what if we got like a proper Willis, Arnie, Sly crossover in the 80s? We of course could have got it because Commando and Die Hard 2 both share Valverde, and don't they? The Stephen D'Souza made up country.
Yes.
So we could have got like John Matrix coming into the Die Hard franchise, couldn't we? Or we could have got, because the general that comes on the plane, the general, is it General Esperanza? Yeah. He's coming from Valverde, isn't he?
Yeah.
And we could have got it. It was right there for the taking, but nobody jumped on it at the time.
I know. Yeah. If that had been where it was set or something like that. What a missed opportunity for that kind of shared universe,
John Matrix, John McClane, John Rambo, right?
Exactly.
3 Johns, we could have called it or something.
All the Johns, yeah. I wonder if the Predator film was set in Valverde as well, like the jungles of, or is that, do they actually name, because they just kind of say Central America, or do they name the country?
I think they name it, don't they, at one point? Is it like Venezuela or somewhere? But I mean, we could retroactively say it's Valverde as well, can't we? Why not?
Yeah, they should have done it then. Yeah, they should have at this film. That's where they should have gone, Valverde, or say where to next. Where, at the end they say, "Oh, I've got a," or Willis has said, "I've when you boys are ready, I've got another job for you. Yeah, have you heard of Valverde or something like that? Just
nice.
something like that, or Schwarzenegger going, "Oh, I need a vacation now. Yeah, I've heard Valverde is very nice this time of year." So, something like that would have been cool. Yeah,
it would have been. Right, let me read you a slightly better review. This is from Rainer Zoo. Marginally better in most respects than the original, but the dialogue still stinks to high heaven. The climax here is actually pretty fun. But even then, every 2 minutes, a scene will stop dead in its tracks that either Schwarzenegger or Willis can make some of the worst jokes you've ever heard. If I were to recommend you one action movie starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren, and Scott Adkins that came out in 2012, this would not be it. Do you know what the other action movie starring those 3 guys is?
That would have been one of the Universal Soldier sequels, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. Day of Reckoning.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you seen it?
Jesus, I've seen it. I've got it upstairs on Blu-ray.
Oh, it's brilliant.
It is a good film, but I don't know if it's better than Expendables 2, to be honest with you.
Do you not? Okay.
It always bugged me in that film why they made Luke Devereaux a villain, why they made
Mm.
Van Damme's film all of a sudden, having been a hero in the previous 3 appearances I think he makes, why he suddenly became like this villainous character in that one. But I guess that's a discussion for another day. But no, it is a good film. It is a good film. But I don't know if it's better than Expendables 2, to be honest with you. It looks like it cost like tuppence to make, to be honest
It
with
does, yeah.
you. You know, it looks like it was all filmed in like some, disused power station or something in Romania or something like that. But she's got a point. She's got a point. I'm still seething over the previous guy saying he was bored to tears. Bored to tears?
I know. I find it hard to believe you're
honest.
bored watching this movie.
I know. Jesus Christ. I think he was watching the wrong film. I think he should have turned that off and put Chocolat on instead or something like that. I think that would have been more his bag. I'm not asleep tonight, Jack. I'm not riled.
I can tell, yeah. Right, let's see if Peter Burt helps you feel any better.
Oh, here we go.
Jason Statham disguises himself as a priest and says, I now pronounce you
Man and knife.
then proceeds to stab a bunch of guys. The villain's name is Verlaine. The Expendables 2 is light years better than the first one. It's actually a real movie, well directed with decent action and stuffed with cheesy one-liners that have me laughing throughout. It's brain dead, but not in a way that depressed me. Good movie? No. But to my surprise, this rewatch was actually fun. We're getting there, getting to a place where you might be happy.
I like where he's coming from. But when he says good movie, no, he's lost me, to be honest with you. But yeah, no. All joking aside, what he says, yeah, it rings true. A lot of what he said, yeah, I can't disagree with anything he says there. This film is what it is. This series is what it is. If you're looking for high art and intellectual, discussions where they actually do discuss what the message is in life, as opposed to like a ham-fisted graveside eulogy, what's the message, then there are films like that out there where this isn't one of them. But if you're expecting anything different than what you actually get in this film, then you're just setting yourself up for a fall, aren't you? You know what you should know what it is going in. You should know what it is going in at the top. So it always sort of bemuses me when people write reviews that kind of want to knock it down for being what it is.
Yeah, this kid's film was not for me, says 60-year-old white man.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny
yeah. I didn't enjoy Trolls 2. It was very kiddie-ish, wasn't it? Well, it is what it is. You know what it is going in. You know what it is going in. There's no hidden surprises in this film. There's no hidden depths to it. It's not pretending to be anything it isn't. The trailers aren't misleading. The marketing's not misleading. The cast isn't misleading. You know what you're getting. So I don't know. It always bemuses me when people like to sort of shit on it for what it isn't, rather than you can shit on it for what it is if you like. You can say, oh yeah, it's crap and it's badly acted and it's badly written and no one's any good in it. Fine, but if you're going to criticize it for not being something, well, that's just silly in my opinion.
No, I agree. We both have said that we like both these movies, but we've called out criticisms. That's okay to do. But yeah, just blindly saying it's not for me, so therefore it's rubbish. That is, we know that's a rampant problem with opinions on the internet, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say about opinions. So yeah.
Oh, I'll bring you home. Sorry, go on. No. You're about to. I thought we were leaving.
I was going to say opinions are like ourselves, aren't they?
I thought we were leaving that hanging for people to fill in the blanks with their own version. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, everyone's entitled to the opinion. Like I said earlier, that guy's opinion's no less valid than ours. So you do you is my message.
All right, Redberry 74. Come on, make Max happy.
Yes.
This is one of those rare movies where everyone's opinion is correct, no matter what it is. This is the best movie ever made, and this is also the worst movie ever made. It's a lot of fun seeing these old action superstars together saying their old quips. And it's really cringy seeing these old farts together saying their old quips. The action was over the top awesome. And the action was over the top and awful. The plot and acting were bad, but that doesn't matter in a film like this. And the plot and acting were bad. And it absolutely does matter in a film like this. All these things are true. The Expendables 2 is the alpha and the omega. There is no wrong answer. There is no right answer. For all answers are both. All that being said, Jean-Claude Van Damme stole the show as the villain. And if you don't agree with that, you're wrong.
Do you know what? I actually agree with that.
That's an
He's
excellent
right.
review.
He's right in what he's saying, because you can agree with either side of the coin there, depending on what your personal stance is.
Mhm.
Like saying, if you're gonna just embrace it for what it is and enjoy it, then everything he said about it being the greatest and most awesome film, yeah, fine. But you can, and I don't deny anyone's right to, and I don't disagree with anyone's opinion, actually. You can watch this film in isolation and go, this is fucking shit. But you actually can. And if someone did come up to me and go, this film's crap, and I can understand why you would think that, and I wouldn't really have it in me to disagree with them, because again, if you're not looking for this type of film, then in just judging it on its own merits, you could go, yeah, the acting's fucking dreadful, because it is in a lot of places. You could go, yeah, the dialogue's terrible. We've pulled apart some dialogue in this. You can say this is crap and this is crap, and you'd probably be right, but you can also say this is great and this is great, and you'd also be right. And you're talking about the exact same thing, which this guy just wasn't in his review. So I take my hat off to him.
Yeah. And obviously, I tried to find Statham focus reviews. There wasn't any Statham there, but I thought that was just too good not to share. And actually has brought us to a close in a perfect way that the Expendables movies could only dream to do.
Yes.
Thank you, mate. So, worth catching, classic, or completist only for the Expendables 2?
Well, completist only, no, forget that. It would be hard to call it a classic, but out of the three options you've given me, I'm going to put it there. I have to, because I think it's completist only. No, it's far better than that, and I think it is better than worth catching. If we're talking about it specifically within the parameters of the Statham back catalogue, then yeah, I would think it is in the top, at least the top 10, I would say, of his movie output. If not, again, it's only my opinion. What does that matter? But I would maybe even put it in the top 5 of his stable. Maybe just about. So yeah, I will tell you it's a classic. It's a classic without being a classic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But judged in our parameters, yes, for me, a classic. What say you?
I think that central scene is a classic, but I feel like there's some sections where he's not in it enough, and I think if that Adkins fight had just upped its game one more level, I'd be with you. But I think at the moment, with what I've seen up to this point, I'm one notch down. I think I'm at a worth catching place. But I agree. Like, considering what the Stath's capable of doing and what he's doing at this point in his career, he's bringing it in this movie. I think he brings it in most movies. He doesn't ever seem to slouch or phone it in, really, I don't think.
I agree. He's always good. He's not, whatever the film is he's in, whether the film itself is good, bad, or indifferent, he always brings what you want him to bring, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And what we want you to bring, look at that segue, is our next mandatory music and CD episode. What's happening? We've got one coming up soon.
We have myself, Dave, and Tony. We've had the most terrible spell of scheduling conflicts you could ever hope to address. Whenever we've put a date in, either one of the three of us has said, "Look, life's happened, or this has happened, or that has happened, and I can't do it. Something's come up." And so at the minute, we've penciled to record between Christmas and New Year because everyone gets a bit of time off work, and there's a bit more flexibility there. I mean, this is as we record. That's what's happening. It might not. don't come after me if it doesn't happen. But yes, it's been a while. It's been a good few weeks since the last episode. But we have penciled in to record Iron Maiden's The Number of the Beast some point between Christmas Day and New Year's Day this year. I hope it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it will happen at some point. But yes, currently as we sit, and then that episode will presumably land first week of January, all being well.
Great news. So that'll be a couple of weeks after this comes out.
Yes.
And then you'll be back with me for Expendables 3. Looking at my lists, so early February. So we're getting a bit more Max in our ears over the next couple of months.
I can't wait. Again, it just gives me that excuse if anyone needed to rewatch the film. So I can't wait. Expendables 3 is one I've not watched in some time, and it's one I have quite mixed emotions on. Whereas I've waxed lyrical tonight about how much I love this film. The third one I think will be slightly more of a mixed bag to me. But compared to if and when we ever talk about the fourth film, I will be treating part 3 like Citizen Kane.
Brilliant. Thank you, mate.
My pleasure.
And thank you everyone else for listening and partaking in this journey with me through the Stath's filmography. That was Expendables 2. Next up in a fortnight is Parker, featuring the long-awaited return of Blake Byles to see out 2023, followed by Redemption, or you might also know it as Hummingbird, to welcome in the new year, starring your friend of mine, Math, for anyone that is watching along. I'm Jack's Musings, and that's JACS, and you can find me on X where I'm most active. You can also contact the show directly on X under the name Back to the Filmog. Make sure you use the hashtag #FollowTheFilmography. I'm also a proud member of the Comics in Motion family, a super place full of the world's greatest people, dedicated to bringing you podcasts on a variety of geeky topics. So, please make sure you take the time to search, subscribe, and rate our shows whenever and wherever you listen. Until next time, be excellent to each other and make sure you take the time to treat yourself too. I am Jack signing off. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers. Cut.
Careful what you do, or mumbo jumbo's gonna hoodoo you. Mumbo jumbo's gonna hoodoo you. Boom-a-lay, 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 boom. The building.